Welcome back. The question is, how do our older adults change with age, and how can caregivers truly support them? Well, from the Mona Aging and Wellness Center at UWI, the Honorable Professor Denise Eldemire-Shearer is here with the new Caring for Older Adults manual. Professor, welcome. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning, and thanks for having us.
Absolutely. I was saying to you a while ago, this manual is right on time, right?
Some would argue with you that it should have been done earlier, but yes, it's on time.
Right. That's the only thing. It should have been earlier, because I was saying to you as well before we came on here, the most wonderful thing I could have ever done was to be able to care for my grandmother up until the time of her transition, and I think it was a beautiful time where we have generations, coming together, me learning from her even learning from me as well. But I think, there's so many myths around aging. And so this manual, I'm sure, clears up a lot of that, right?
It clears up a lot of it, and more importantly, it helps persons caring to understand why some of the changes. Mm-hmm. If we pick up from the last segment when Soups spoke about persons stepping in front of the car, many people think older people just not following what's happening. For older persons, the car is actually much further away than it appears, because depth perception, there are changes in your eyes. Take that into the house. Can you imagine? The step looks much wider, and that's why we have falls in the house.
Yes.
So the manual is about helping caregivers, including older people themselves, because there is a section on healthy aging. So before you need care, you can help yourself. But it's about the caregiver watching with steps. It's about the family then putting strips. It's about having rails. So the manual hopes to make life, through information, more comfortable for both the older persons and for those helping them. Not all our caregivers, as you mentioned, intergen. Grandchildren love to be around older people. But they have to understand, put out your hand, make sure that you help them, or at least put it out, because some will box away the hand.
Yes.
Because they want to be independent. So then you stand in front of them. So the manual, the book, whatever we call it, goes through each system, talking about what are the changes.
Yeah. Can you explain for us further normal aging and the signs that something actually may be wrong?
And we put those in the book, because that's a question that when we did the 1989 study, I'm glad you brought it up, the most important question for people, we said, what would you like? Expecting them to tell us money. They said information. When is something normal? When is it not? So each system of the body goes through different changes, and each individual has a different pattern. So there's no one size fits all. So things like eyes change much earlier. You start wearing your past 40 glasses at 40 or thereabouts. Some people are even earlier. So it's about understanding that the eyes will change. The teeth, your jaw can shrink. So dentures don't fit. People will take out their denture. There's a myth that once you have problems with your teeth, you can only eat soft food. No.
Really?
No. You can just give them food and see what they can eat. I remember being at the Golden Age home many years ago, and a man was complaining bitterly. Why were they only giving him pumpkin and stuff? Everybody else has oxtail. And
the oxtail wouldn't cause damages to the...
He had been eating oxtail without his teeth for 30 years.
Wow.
So it's important for us to find out what an older person wants. And then you have to know when something's not quite right. Because you don't want to assume that aging is anything that happens, especially if it's a sudden change, is due to the aging process. Because older people are people.
Right. Because the thing about it as well is some of the things, the signs that would tell us that something is wrong is in having the conversation with the older person, hearing how they respond, maybe looking at how they would manage a routine that they would normally be a part of, right? Does the manual cover these things as well? Some of the signs that we should look out for?
Yes, it does. And you bring up an important point. managing a routine that they should be able to do or they have always been able to do and they suddenly cannot do it warrants a visit to the primary care system.
Yeah. Because
it can be diabetes, it can be thyroid. We tend to think it's just part of aging and we tend to think that something, it's dementia and it's not.
Right.
Most importantly in this book is the chapter for the caregiver. Caregivers can get stressed, they can get burnt out. And so there's an important chapter in here for the caregiver, telling them showing them how to recognize the signs of burnout and not be afraid of saying, I need a break.
Wow. That's so important.
Yes.
Absolutely so important.
Yes.
Because you feel like you need to continually be in a state of giving and that person would not be able to survive or be, okay without you being there.
And you can't give if you're burnt out. Remember, caregivers for the most part are female. They are over 50. So they also have high blood pressure. They're going through menopause. They have families.
Yes.
And the 24-hour care, if that's what is required, can become burdensome.
Absolutely. In the manual as well, you mentioned nutrition and movement and the importance of those two things. Let's talk about those two things and how it is that we formulate something that works for the person who we're giving care to.
The physical activity is probably the most important thing that you spoke about. 72% of our older people are going to have high blood pressure. That's our genetics and our environment. You have to move. How do you move? It's no longer when you're 70 or 75 necessarily going to the gym. It's no longer about pushing 15-pound weights, but there's no reason you can't use 5-pound weights. And it's about encouraging caregivers. Older people can get, I wouldn't use the word depressed, but they don't like not being independent.
Absolutely.
They don't like asking for help. So how do you, as a family member or a caregiver, motivate them to do things? So you don't bring them food and feed them. You sit beside them. Yes, it's going to take half an hour, but encourage them to use it.
Yeah.
So the physical activity, taking them outside, getting them to walk around, you doing it too won't hurt you. The nutrition is very important and very difficult. You're going to find that 24% are going to have diabetes, roughly. So it's about fruits, which are scarce. It's about vegetables, which are expensive. But one lady told me she used to go to Coronation Market on a Saturday, because when you go on a Saturday, everybody wants to sell off what's down there. It may not be as crisp as it was on Thursday, but it's vegetables. So this book represents what people have told us, I continue to learn.
Yeah, absolutely.
Last week I learned that there are some persons who have dementia that operate by color. Have you ever thought of the fact that if you change the dishwashing liquid from green to the lemon, they think it's oil? And
That's a very good point.
And she walked, and I had never heard it after 40 years of practicing. So this book represents what a lot of our clients, some patients, have told us.
Yes.
How do you turn somebody in bed? How do you lift them up? Did you know you can take up the four corners and just lift them rather than struggle to have them sit up?
Yes.
So we cover that in the book.
Prof, does the manual also speak to the fun stuff? Because people think that when you're aging, you're just supposed to be laying there in bed taking your medication and that's it.
The manual speaks to, there's a part of the manual that speaks to healthy aging. Loneliness is the number one problem of older people. The children that you speak to will tell you it's their health and having to take them to the doctor. But in the 2 surveys that we have done, it's been loneliness. So it's about what activities can older people do. It's about the importance of going to church. Church is much more than church, you know.
Yes.
Church is a social activity.
Yes.
We now have a chill center at the Mona Aging and Wellness. University have given us a house, and we have bingo, we have dominoes, we have a walking track, all as a model. Anybody who is trying to set up a facility can visit, but it has an entire chapter.
Yeah.
And the importance of grandchildren.
Yes.
Grandchildren and grandparents, and there are many studies, speak to the relationship So don't think they're too old and you don't want to burden them. Leave the grandchildren with them for a couple of hours after school. It's an amazing relationship. You spoke to it yourself. You spoke to it yourself.
It was the best time.
See? And I'm sure that somebody probably felt, boy, she may be wearing her down. She may be... But
oh, no, I was actually doing my CXCs at the time. And I felt honored to have had that experience with her.
Right.
Yeah.
So we speak to that. We speak to the illnesses. We do speak in the manual to the diabetes, the hypertension, what are the foods you can use. We stress the importance of exercise for those illnesses. And exercise, you can have a hip replacement and not be able to run, but there's nothing to say you can't do the exercises in the chair.
I want to make sure that we know exactly where to get this manual.
You can get this manual from the Mona Aging and Wellness Center, which we're on the campus, and it's 876-927-1660, and you can ask for Mona Aging and Wellness.
Thank you so much for doing this book. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
So much. That was the Most Honorable Professor Denise Eldemire-Shearer joining us this morning and teaching us how we can better care for our older adults with this wonderful manual. Stay with us. We have more to come on Smile Jamaica. Stay with us.